Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Cole, Saturday afternoon, February 19th. Now entering week 7 of Comparative Governments, Political Science 3143 for the spring term 2022. Everyone, we have Canada and Germany left on the syllabus before our midterm exam, which is scheduled for Friday and Saturday, March 4th and 5th. This week we have Canada, and we're running a discussion number 4, I believe, Monday through Wednesday, next week. You're asked to look at a column by a writer for the Montreal Gazette who recently traveled to Florida. And he compares the response to the coronavirus pandemic in Quebec as opposed to Florida. So I'd ask you to think about that in terms of what you had read about political culture in our class notes from just a couple of weeks ago. How might the differing political cultures of the two countries explain how the coronavirus pandemic is being treated differently in these two countries? And you might think about this. Your author mentions that he would prefer something in between the approaches taken by Quebec and by Florida to the coronavirus pandemic. So what do you think about that? All right, so think about that. As you look at that very short piece from the Montreal Gazette and take part in that discussion the first couple of days of next week, Monday through Wednesday. All right, just to say a few words about Canada. Canada resembles both the United States and Great Britain in some respects, but of course not others. It resembles the United States in that it is a continental nation spanning the coast of the Pacific to the Atlantic, but it has parliamentary institutions and is a constitutional monarchy, like Great Britain. Now, there are some problems that are unique to Canada. Canada is in a somewhat awkward constitutional situation. Ever since the country was formed in 1867, going back that far, the situation was that changes to the Constitution of Canada would require passage of an act of the British Parliament. Now, Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, father of the current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, found that to be very awkward, and he wanted to repatriate and revise the Constitution. And that was done back in the 1980s, but Quebec has not signed off on and ratified these constitutional changes, largely because of the language issue, the political differences between French and English-speaking Canadians, francophones and anglophones, as Canadians like to say. Okay, now, students might have heard that in the late 20th century there were 2 independence referenda in Quebec, both of which failed the second time very narrowly. So the question arises, has that issue gone away completely or not? Probably not, although there doesn't seem to be much pressure for independence in another referendum right now. So you'll be looking at that as you read through the class notes on Canada that we posted for this week. I believe those are the class notes for lectures 10 and 11. Everyone will have heard, of course, about the trucker convoy that has descended on the city of Ottawa, the capital. Hard to say exactly what the significance of that is for comparative governments. It may actually turn out to be a bigger issue in the United States than in Canada, especially if a similar convoy is formed to make its way from California to Washington, D.C. in time for the State of the Union address, and there are reports in the media that indicate that something like that is afoot. So hard to say when we're right in the middle of something like that what the significance of it is for comparative governments, but we should at least acknowledge that it's going on, and I'm sure it's something that will be studied very closely by political scientists on both sides of the border, especially if something similar does happen in the United States. Okay, now everybody, on the syllabus for next week we have Germany. I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I'm assigning you an article to read for a quiz this Friday about Germany. The article assigned for the quiz discusses the formation of a coalition government in Germany after the September 2021 elections. The governing coalition is made up of 3 parties: the Social Democrats, the Free Democrats, and the Green Party. And the article you're reading came out just before the coalition agreement was concluded and just before Olaf Scholz became Chancellor of Germany. Okay, so take a look at that. The three parties had to hammer out exactly what the policy of the government was going to be. Although they don't completely agree among themselves, they were running against each other back in September. So it's the kind of thing, it's hard to draw an exact parallel with anything in American politics. So take a look at that in time for a quiz on Friday. We'll have more to say about Germany next week when I speak to you about a week from now at this time. But we will be getting ready for the midterm exam, which will take place at the end of next week. So we sort of have a short week next week. We have the midterm exam coming up on Friday and Saturday, the 4th and 5th, and that will cover everything through Germany. Okay. The preliminaries that we went through for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the term, and then Great Britain, Canada, and Germany to wind up the material for the midterm exam. So that is coming up in about 2 weeks. In the meantime, we have a discussion about Canada and a quiz based on some material for you to read about Germany. Okay, so we'll do the discussion and the quiz this week, and we'll say a bit more about Germany and about the midterm exam when we speak to you about a week from now at this time. So take a look at that material on Canada and Germany. Study hard. Good luck, and we'll talk to you again a week from now at this time.